Hello YouTube and welcome back to the channel here today. Today we're back for more Mushi-Shi. Please look forward to it, episodes 22 and 23. Very excited to be jumping back in here with 2 more episodes. You may notice that something is missing. I've decided to ditch the hat for a little bit. We're gonna see how it goes. One, it's getting kind of fucking old and shitty, so I don't know how that's going. I could just get a new one. Sounds very difficult. I don't know if I have the capabilities of doing that. 2, it was always a crutch for me not to, like care about my hair at all. And I don't know. I still don't like it very much, but I think I'm just going to learn to live with it. I don't know. I just feel like it's time. I don't know why. I just feel like you got to try something different every now and again, if that makes any sense. Anyway, I don't really have much else to talk about because there's no YouTube comments here once again, so nothing really for me to bounce off of. Just that last week was scary as fuck, and I don't want another scary episode. I'd like some normal Mushishi right now. That'd be nice. You know what else would fix me? Shouting at the patrons. So let's do such a thing. Let's go. Yeah, Patreon. It's linked in the description below. If you'd like to support me, I'd very much appreciate it. You also get episodes 1 week early, so if you're really into your Mushishi, you get that 1 week early. You get whatever the hell I'm doing next 1 week early. You get Baccano 1 week early. It's all sounds pretty good to me. It's a fucking awesome deal. And yeah, many people have access such a thing, such as AJ, Akomancer, Bananarama Hamadama-sama, Bisa, Capella, Choberibi, Dapper Dwarf, Ed, Fancy Question Mark, Fruit, Gloriana Tenebrae, Glyke, Hans Peter, Ika, Yako Yavanen, Jami Boo, Joran, Kasogtha, Clem, Kot Begemot, Lick H, Lou, Master Detective, Mickey Babbers, Miru, Mistake L. Chen, Molly Weinberger, Mr. Maniacs, Nailu, Parnik, Pencil Shop 333, Pointed Snowdrop, Ron Led B&K, Saint Lily, Sal, Sam1373, Skeleton, Tentacle Member, Waifu Overdose Without a Net, Kelvin, Binshi, Aidan O'Brien, Fleur Nightingale, Gus N, Nosta, and Ossie. Thank you very much for everybody for supporting the channel. I appreciate the money. As I said before, Mushishi, we don't really set it up the same way as we do other shows, so let's just watch some Mushishi. It's going to be episode 22 here to start. Please look forward to it greatly. And then we have it, episode 22 of Mushishi up there ready to go. 23 minutes and 39 seconds on this one, so sync up accordingly with your own copy. I have the psych version, so get that copy if you'd like to follow along with my copy, if I can speak. And yeah, there's a picture-in-picture version in the description below if you'd like to use that one instead. Still can't speak, apparently. So yeah, let's just jump in and give it a 3, 2, 1. Radio, 3, 2, 1, go! Indeed. Mushishi time. What else do I have to... I don't really have much else to say on it besides the hat thing. The hat thing's kind of all that's running through my mind, really. I don't know, I guess we can talk about last week. Last week in Mushishi was a very interesting one. Again, we had a pretty large-scale episode with the Tanyu stuff. Like, again, to my knowledge, I would imagine that she's coming back. Again, I've pretty much had that confirmed for me, which is nice. She seemed like endgamey, if that makes any sense. So that's kind of crazy. And then again, of course, after that, we were terrified of the terrible little creatures under the house. Children, of course. Yeah, so... what do you reckon happened there at the end, where he had the guy in the jar? Hopefully it never returns. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. This one was called Shrine in the Sea or something. Give birth to me once more. Okay. Like cycle. And reincarnation almost. Whoa, okay, well that's a child. Very pretty, obviously. Shrine in the Sea. Okay, sure. I'd imagine we've flashed back a little bit. Who? Uminaoshi? Well, he's pretty switched on when it comes to that kind of stuff, our good friend Ginkgo. Someone will help you out, I'm sure. Like that character from before. Ooh, shiny. Hikari? Gotcha, bitch. I'm gonna be honest, I thought that was a dude. Too many snakes around. Don't get me started. If there's one thing I hate, it's snakes. And spiders. Huh. That's interesting. Keep that in mind. Seems pretty quaint. Oh. So is it tied to the moon cyclically or something? Yes. Umi Naoshi. The Dragon's Palace? Now I gotta go have a look. Okay, well that explains the kid thing. Is it a child? Ooh, mother. This is a... Yeah, okay. This is really interesting, for sure. But is it even you? That's tragic, actually. That's actually really sad. This is a way to do this kind of ethical dilemma you would see a lot in science fiction in like a Mushishi setting. This is really cool. Okay. Exposition. That's asking a lot, man. Because it won't comfort me. Well, he already fucked that up. Classy. I really liked that sequence. I felt like the soundtrack did a lot. How... yeah, so no. No chance. You would imagine Mushi. And I was going to say before, this is very interesting coming off the heels of last episode. It is better, correct. But what's correct? Think about it. That's oddly specific. Mm-hmm. Now listen, if she says the same thing, then we're on. Isana must know. Yeah. Oh. I don't know about that one. Jesus Christ. Alright, sure. That would be a weird feeling, for sure. What's Ginkgo's... Is he just surveying at the moment? I don't know if he has like a plan per se. He just wants to see what the go is. What do your elf eyes see? Alright, seems pretty chill. Show me. Yeah, I guess, relatively. I'd like to see the sunset. Are we sensing the same thing, Ginkgo? There's something's off. But as she continues to grow up, it's going to freak you out. Or it already is freaking you out. Minute. It's an interesting word. It is kind of crazy. Yeah, what's down there? They almost look like fish eggs or something, right? Ginkgo, what would happen if you swallowed one? I think I've got to go to a certain website to see art of that. I don't think I want to. Alright, he's gaming. He's actually like... Ginkgo with like a fucking... Like a... What do you call it? Microscope is crazy. Interesting. Like a genetic copy. How long do we have left? Okay. I'm wary because of how long the episode has left. Because that's a great moral to end on, but obviously we're not ending on it. We need to go see more. Again, it's a nature versus nurture discussion. Oh. Ginkgo as a character is very interesting here, because he almost... like, became reborn upon the whole Ginkgo thing happening, too. Okay, well, you have a very different opinion. Okay, so the weather keeps him here an additional day than he wants. Yeah, I'll unpack Ginkgo's kind of past here during the analysis. I knew we were gonna do this. So how the fuck do you know that? Did you come up with that yourself? I'm with you, Mum. For sure, for sure. I'm a little bit thirsty for ocean water. Don't go out there too much. Seas look pretty fucking shaky. That's all I'm saying. Now, what did the daughter say? Before? Whoa, 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 whoa! I think we're gonna get a better look at whatever the fuck this thing is. Take me down to the Dragon's Palace. Ooh. The Dragon's Palace? I almost choked on my own, I don't know what, words? Oh, easy. Never in doubt. Are you? Hang on. I don't want anybody to die now. Come on. Fucking awesome. Audio's cool, really cool again. A very interesting discussion for you in particular, Ginkgo, for sure. Use your Mushishi water breathing. Come on now. Yes, but what of the daughter? Okay. I see 3. Oh, so it stopped with this. It's like tied to the moon and the weather almost. Hmm. Get your moon symbolism ready. I'm ready. What a lovely day at the beach. Some kind of time thief. It's like he's just wiping his hands of the whole affair. I think that's a really nice sentiment. I didn't really understand it, if I'm honest. I'd rather use up the time than have them use up the time. And in their own way, that's a kind of symbiosis with humans, right? Fascinating episode. Loved it. Lots and lots of ways you can take it. One I was just thinking about then is, again, this Mushi is almost reversing time in the same way that we would normally use time going forward, right? I'm using time right now. Time is a limited resource. It almost, on that same kind of opposite end of the kind of mirror there, almost, it's it's got a different relationship with time. And again, it's like, you know, what's the word? It's like habits make sense as to an animal. It has a way to attract prey, and something that it satiates itself on. Like we're always good at that side of the world building too, I feel. And yeah, I mean, it's essentially a cloning little thing we have going on, and that's always an interesting dilemma, right? The sound of rust? Hey, yo. In my experience with rust, the sound of rust is normally racial slurs. But anyway, I digress. Let's dive into episode 23. Let's go. There we have it. Next episode up there, ready to go. 23 minutes and 39 seconds on this one. Same subs as last time, same picture in picture as last time. Let's give this thing a 3, 2, 1. Radio? 3, 2, 1, go. I should have had a little pick-me-up or something. I'm a little bit peckish. I'll be okay, though. I'll survive. Tell you what, you better like this song, because you do hear it a lot. I guess it's time for a tangent, why not? I was watching a lot of Naruto recently. Like, I thought the pacing in this show was kind of slow. Holy. And then I hear, like, One Piece is worse? Them shonen motherfuckers are built different. That's all I'm trying to say. Anyway, it was just a repetitive opening kind of got me there. Because, like, you have the same opening there for multiple cores in Naruto sometimes. And, again, you better like that opening. And before you said, I don't think it's a 2000s thing either. I've seen plenty of fast-paced shows from the 2000s. Hell, I'm watching one right now in Baccano. I've seen plenty of fast-paced shows from the 90s. It really took me by surprise. I didn't know that it was like that. I didn't know it had to be that way. Stormy clouds. Well, how do you make rust? First you need some water, maybe. A strange sound echoing through the ice, and we're going to check that the sink is right there. Apologies. I did the thing. It was on the dub, and I didn't have the subs turned on. Sorry. Now, rust is weird, and hearing screams? Rust is just oxidization of metal, no? Something like that? I was never much of a science guy, maybe I'm not the person to ask. But you seem suspicious, young child. Indeed. Very isolated thus far in the episode, for sure. They're like in a little kind of valley between a lot of mountains. Ooh, yeah. Very interesting. What's going on here? Yeah, bringing that disease subtext to the text for sure. It's an interesting effect. Go on. Shige. I don't know. Is she mute? Can she speak, or she hasn't spoke? Okay. No, there's a hole in the bag, you must believe me. I get the feeling that somebody made that hole in there. What? I think that's true. Yeah. Seems like it is mute, is the idea. Otherwise, she's acting very unnaturally. Tetsu's interesting. Tetsu's very interesting, actually, as a name. Any screaming? Oh, I didn't hear anything. They seem in a lot of pain. Oh, no, listen, I don't want to absolve her of guilt. I don't think she's being malicious in whatever she's doing. But she did come out of that cave that was all rusty, so, like... They can't see the rust. So something about speaking to the rust, or speaking affects the... Alright, don't be weird now. Yeah, and it's just how you see life. So you never thought to bring it up, you know? Just acted like a kid, fair enough. So when did they just organically get suspicious of her? Because she didn't speak and... I like it. I don't know. What do you mean by that? Utterly similar? Yasabi? Interesting. This is crazy. This is going to be like he breaks a curse or something almost to the eyes of everybody else. It's giving me Monogatari, that dead tree. A little bit. Alright, Ginkgo, tell me the plan, buddy. Gonna get them to scatter. Oh, it's this Tetsu guy again. Just being chill. I guess sickness starts when Shige is born. That's why there's superstition around her. Anything? He's figured something out. Oh yeah, I can do that. 100%. Now read it. Kontetsu switch on. Nice lie. Jesus. Where's your proof? Alright, maybe he's just based. The drums are going crazy. This is a very logical solution. I'm happy that somebody suggested it. Yeah, you didn't need to justify anything. Just leave. Okay, bye. Where's your proof? So where's the proof, though? She didn't know. But did you fucking listen? I mean, I think she's done enough. Can you imagine like somebody between the ages of 4 and 14 not talking? Shut up. What was the thing with the ocean, is my question. What was that about? Then come with me. Sounds like a shithole. I'm in. She loves it. Well, that's subpar. I don't like that. She took a little tumble off the cliff. Oh! Oh no, she's fine. Help! Help! Well, I mean, there we go. Easy. Never in doubt. Yeah, look at it. It's a big army of rust. Hell yeah. Tetsuo the Iron Man? Look at Tetsu in the back. Go on. Huh. That's kind of fun. Okay, I understand now. So I tell you to get back out there and yell some more. So you'll be able to make it that way again. And I'll go to the ocean with bro. That's a win-win for me. I'm just gonna go yell a bunch again. You call that singing? Once again, and the thing that I probably haven't shouted out in the show for quite a while, the audio design is fantastic. Again, like when Ginkgo was underwater last episode, it was very striking. And just in general, her kind of voice design. Obviously, again, you're adapting from a manga which doesn't have the sound element, and I feel like they've done a really good job adapting that. So kudos. That episode was pretty good. It did a lot of good things going for it. If I was to be a critical little boy, I would say that the town being that openly antagonistic felt a little bit, I don't know, like a kid's show almost. It's like, I don't know, normally we give people a little bit more of the benefit of the doubt than that. I feel like we've done better, like mob, like town mob turns on character episodes in Mushishi. Then it's a little bit on the slow side, but we're doing some fun stuff with the Rust concept, and again, that line there, which really kind of brought it all together, which was that we were mistaking kind of actual Rust for the Mushi. As it turns out, the one spot that looked rusty to everybody else was the one spot without the Mushi Rust. Saying that word again, it's a mirror. That's very, very cool. I think I need to look up a lot of stuff about Rust too, and just kind of figure out how it all works. But yeah, we can do that tomorrow. I'll give myself some reprieve here today. So yeah, I will see you then. Thank you for watching thus far. And we're back. It's the next day. 2 more episodes of Mushishi in the books. They were quite good again. Yeah, probably preferring the first episode yesterday to the second. I just think it ultimately gets it a more interesting concept. Well, that's not even it. It's an interesting concept inherently, but it is well-trodden ground. I feel like we're getting to it in a interesting way using our Mushi-Shi setting, using a little bit of fantasy involved. So let me backtrack a little bit and say what I'm talking about. There's, like, I don't know, if you're making, like, science fiction in, like, current year with, like, AI and, you know, robotics and, you know, cloning and all sorts of stuff, right? This kind of story comes up quite a bit. What if there was an exact replica of me, right, genetically? Would they be the same person as me? How much do I need to take away from myself before I'm something else entirely? Tying it into ethical questions about, you know, essentially eternal youth. tying it into ethical questions about, letting people actually die. Am I just literally reusing the same person over and over again? Is there, peace found in death? Are we, there's various ethical kind of traditions around the world for death and how to treat people that have died and stuff. Are we obeying those? Specifically tying it into a person that used to be my mother, right? The person that gave birth to me. Now I'm going to give birth to her? Isn't that kind of weird? Isn't that strange? It's like a role reversal thing. This person that's very important to me has taken on an entirely different role. That's odd. So again, clearly we're playing around in those areas, but again, there's no fucking electricity or nothing, so we got to find a Mushi way to do it, and I feel like we succeed in doing so. It made me feel Land of the Lustrous things, which is only a good thing, I would say. Granted, Land of the Lustrous does have its science involved there too. I shouldn't say it's, entirely similar to this, but definitely, at least early on in the story there, it is, pretty grounded and reminded me of this episode in a lot of ways. The next episode, I would say, kind of lives and dies by its gimmick, even though that's a little bit of a mean way to say it. I think the rust is really cool. The coloration's awesome. We do some really cool sound work with that ability, with the young girl's voice there. I do like the reveal in the middle of it that, hey, not everybody can see this rust. I was completely under the impression that everybody saw all the shit everywhere. But no, they didn't. They can't see Mushi. Only a special few can. And yeah, another thing I really like too is very early in life, this starts happening to her, right? It's kind of something inherent to her. She just thinks that's normal. Again, it's all that she's seen. It's all that she'll ever see is Mushi. So she's grown up with this ability. She's like, oh, this is how everybody's seeing it. I don't even have a concept of me being different at all. So again, that ramps up the tragedy when she starts to think that she's at fault. Again, she's just been a normal kid, laughing, playing, talking, screaming, crying, doing whatever else normal kids do. And again, she's punishing everybody around her for it by no fault of her own. It's, yeah. That's the interesting stuff. Where we get to the minute-to-minute like plotting of the episode, I think it's probably on the poorer end of Mushi-Shi episodes, I would say. Felt like we needed a stronger reveal around the ocean stuff and why Tetsu there wasn't affected. His name being Tetsu, which means iron, if you people didn't know that. Yeah, that's pointed as well, obviously. I thought the mob sucked. I didn't like that the town just kind of turned on her. It is realistic. They have been putting up with this ailment for 14 years now. But I don't know. They can't even be reasoned with at all. We can't justify anything. We can't start talking any of our side of the story. I feel like there's some really... What's the word? Not hacky per se, but like really labored storytelling in getting that one lady the information that maybe kind of proves that the girl, I forget her name, that she's at fault. Like, I felt like that was a poor part of the episode. It felt really contrived, and yeah, I didn't like it. Solution there's pretty good though. I like them moving away. I feel like that's pretty well tied in. It's another episode, like a lot of them, which have this kind of young couple element to it, which I do enjoy too. And I like that her family always supports her. It's nice to have an actual family that's just like no, like no drama, no worries. We're just gonna be there for each other. It's nice. Either way, we'll roll back through here. I'm of the opinion that these are two, what's the word? More episodic episodes of Mushishi than others, so I don't think there is as much to grab onto. There was some cool Ginkgo personal stuff in this episode here though, so I'll try to mention that. Our opening scene here has been kind of revealed through the events of the rest of the episode. This is the kind of original night where the father is taking the mother out. I believe she's terminally ill, or some equivalent. She's got some disease that's going to kill her, and we're going to feed her to the thing, and she's going to come back. It's, it's essentially the inciting incident for this entire story. After our title card, we see Isano, I believe her name is. It's that or it's the other one. She's just swimming in the water. She spots Ginkgo coming into town. Ginkgo starts asking around for the Umi Naoshi, which is the particular, I guess, Mushi in this episode, you would say. I should probably look that up too. So Umi's pretty obvious. Umi's like the ocean.
We know that, folks. Now she is like mending or repairing, so that would make sense to me. The ocean that mends or repairs. Yeah, so that's what Ginkgo's looking for here. The start of this episode's quite nice on the rewatch because I know what there's a couple of like knowing looks here between characters. So like the daughter comes running over here and we kind of look at her like this. You basically showed up at the worst time possible if we're trying to keep this kind of thing a secret. There's also Ginkgo preying upon, again, he knows that the rest of the village knows and that they don't want to tell him. He almost sets a trap here saying, oh yeah, those are some weird lights out there. What do you know about them? And it's like, oh, it beats me. So, but there are lights. You did see the lights though, which is a bit of a tell. So it's Mana and Isana. So you used to be Mana, and now you're Isana, which isn't confusing at all. I would have chosen a different kind of suffix there for the name. And Mio is the mother. I gotta commit these names to memory. I'm so bad with names in this show, it's unbelievable. There's a good bit of intrigue early. Again, there's the whole name swap debacle with Grandpa calling her the wrong thing. Ginkgo's like, that seems suspicious. I don't know about all that. Now, I'm skipping ahead here, but I've seen a few shots of the moon here very early in the episode, which becomes vitally important to the climax of the episode because it's essentially what calls off the Mushi in the end. Like, we didn't even know what was down there, what it really looked like. It was just some encroaching darkness type motherfucker. We've seen that kind of thing before. The moon is the thing that quells it. I believe this is just tied to the ocean. Again, the ocean and the kind of lunar cycles are, in sync. The moon pulls the oceans gravity-wise and all sorts of scientific things. The moon is often associated with femininity as well. I thought that it was interesting that we had kind of mother and daughter. Either way you want to do that relationship there, both involved. I thought that was nice too. It's a little bit of a weird ending. It does make sense naturally. I guess it goes to show that this is just this Mushi's natural process, like a lot of the rest of the show does generally. It also may speak to something like, okay, like we morally did the right thing, so the thing quells narratively, if that makes any sense, right? We're trying to save each other. We're, letting the past be the past, and we're moving on with what we can do now. We treated this thing with the reverence and respect it deserves. It calls itself off. I don't know. There's two different lines you can take there. I think we just got lucky with the moon, essentially. Like, the thing called off because the moon was here. So I guess it happens monthly as well. There's some monthly stuff with when we do the revives. So, and when it drops its, or when it reverses the aging. I don't know what the process there was, but it is tied to months as well, which is lunar, of course. Yeah, we even have that line there. I don't think it'll appear anymore because the moon is out, so even the village knows that it is somewhat tied to the moon. I wonder what the significance of the Dragon Palace is. It's a lot of reverence for a place that nobody's ever really seen because it's underwater. Now, I've been playing a lot of Sekiro recently, and, there's a lot of dragon symbolism in that game, and it's all about reviving and reversing aging and eternal youth and stuff. So is there something with dragons and eternity? Is that a thing that we can pull from? And through a lot of the reaction here, I probably mistakenly called Isana a Mushi, which isn't correct, because by the end we find out that it just simply reverses the aging process. So I've interacted with a Mushi, and I've been brought back down to like my base form almost. That doesn't mean I'm part Mushi, it just means I have been touched by Mushi, if that makes any sense. So yeah, Numi now, she isn't, necessarily a Mushi. This is when Mio starts to explain the backstory, I guess you would say. This is when she's a bit younger and Mum's obviously very sick. We do a good job drawing sick people in this show too. She's very, very pale. And then here comes the ethical, moral questions of it all. Well, I'm afraid of dying. I'm afraid of going away forever. I want to see this ocean one more time. I want to experience the rest of my life with you, the daughter I love so very much. This is the sacrifice I'm willing to make. The killer line here for me is, I want to fall asleep thinking I will come back here. Which is, like, that's like a lot of religion in a nutshell almost. Like, I want to face death with the knowledge, because I can never confirm, right? I want to face death with the knowledge that I will come back one day, or I will go to a better place, or I don't know, just something to deal with the concept of death. I think it's a really killer line. I like it quite a bit. It's almost like, please allow me to be selfish here in this time and go and access this thing, even if it's not something that Mio herself wants for her mother. Which again is interesting in a kind of parental child relationship, right? Where mum's like, nah, for this one, I'm going to be so kind of selfish, right? You may have to process what happens later on emotionally a little bit more, but I'm almost thrusting that upon you in a way. It's, yeah, again, very interesting. Music there doing the heavy lifting, of course, too. This is where we get kind of fucked up. Right. So then Mio's dad, Grandpa, in the rest of the story, he comes over to Mio and is like, hey, yeah, I mean, we have this weird embryo thing here. Do you want to be pregnant for 9 months? To give birth to something that'll look a lot like your mother? Now that's where I maybe draw the line. It's a a bridge too far potentially to be asking somebody to do. Oh yeah, this line, it's very throwaway. I know it's been hard on you to lose your husband and then your mother. Okay, I guess that justifies a little bit more of this stuff. I don't know. If she had a husband, potentially that would then imply that she wants children. Then that then potentially implies that she'd be more on board for this whole I'm going to be pregnant with my own mother type thing. It's a stretch, but I guess that's why that line is there. I had a guy that I liked that potentially I wanted to have a family with. He's now not here. I don't know. It's a lens to look at it through. It's fucking weird, though. I wonder where other people fall on this episode. You could definitely make some uncharitable takes on this weird fucking incest village that they have going on. It's fine. I think it's fine for me, but I could see people going the other way. Again, the emotional stakes of this scene, though, is that Mio agrees to essentially fulfill the mother's wish more than anybody else's to see her again, right? Like, I don't really care about the rest of the relatives and what they have going on. Sure, it's a bonus, but Mum said that she wanted to see all this stuff again. I'm gonna sacrifice something in doing so. Oh yeah, it just clicked for me too. The moon is tied to femininity because of menstrual cycles, and then we're talking about like embryos as well. So like, that's all pretty explicit, you'd think. We just need some blood and we'll have the trifecta. So a few more questions that'll never get answered about this episode too. There's a lot of fucking, like, little beads there in the water. Can, like, 5 or 6 people swallow them as well, and then they'll all get pregnant too with the same... Could we make an army of fucking clone babies? Like, say that, you know, every woman in the village has one of these. Are we just going to have 1 million of the same person? Well, again, ethics of the episode, they're not going to be the same person because they're not brought up the same way, blah, 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 but genetically the same person. That's weird. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. But yeah, mentioning it there, the crux of the episode is that ethical question of, okay, so say I was the exact same genetic makeup person that I was, you know, that I am right now, right? What if I was, you know, 20 years in the future? Would I be the same person? No. What if I was born even 10 days later? Potentially not even the same person then. Like, every person is the kind of accumulation of their experience, and if that experience changes even a little bit, then that has, you know, ripple effects and butterfly effect stuff going on all the way. So like, I guess Mio is right to say that, hey, this isn't Mana, this is Asana. You will not call her Mana, she is a different person. She's not my mother, she is now my daughter. Where it gets a little bit hazy is the let's say, somewhat fantastical element of the dreaming of the ocean and the big fish and the stuff that comes back, you know, gets repeated. It's kind of the inciting incident for the final scenes. That's where it gets a little bit weird. Why do you know that? Did I tell you that? Or did you just, like, figure that out on your own? Was that something that is almost attached to... But it'd be attached to the place, too. We're by the ocean. I don't think she would have opinions about a big fish if she lived in the jungle. I don't know. I guess it's just a coincidence that pushes characters in a certain direction. I like Ginkgo here a lot. He's very level-headed. First he asks the question of, okay, is it possible that it's your late husband's child? It's like, well, no, he died 2 years ago. That wouldn't make any sense. And then he's like, well, shit. Well, there's no denying that you gave birth to her, and there's no denying that, you know, she's her own person. Now, I say live and let die. I don't know, it's a very mature take on it, and kind of reflects on the show Mushishi overall, I would say. We take on these fantastical concepts, and there's no, like, look at the camera, gawking, like, isn't this crazy stuff to it? It feels all very lived in, and very rational and normal, and Ginkgo's very calming when it comes to this stuff. It is one of the the show's best aspects, I would say. The aforementioned dream anecdote memory that we have here. When you can't sleep, think of yourself as a giant fish swimming slowly downward into the quiet blue ocean. Isn't that very on the nose for what happens during the finale too? Just some good setup payoff there for sure. And yeah, seeing her now, she is a striking resemblance to the daughter now too, so I mean, the proof's in the pudding. Another element in the episode's favor as well is Isana's, I guess she's just super fine with it. She knows that she's an Umi now. There's no secret to it. That person over there's one too. That person over there's one too. It's just kind of the culture of the village. I don't know. She seems fine with it. That would be the next question. Like, does she feel any different because she's like a clone, essentially? And again, it's all she's ever known. It'd be weird to, I guess, judge her for that. Back to Mio, though, I think this episode overall is also an interesting look at how a person that is quite young would kind of come to terms with the death of a parent, and especially a mother. Like, she needs to process that. Like, almost the whole pregnancy, having the child thing is a metaphor for the, getting over those feelings, right? And getting over the trauma there. I don't know, it's an interesting lens to look at the episode through as well, that she's, again, just really sad as well that she lost a parent, and that kind of hasn't ever gone away, and she's never really come to terms with it. Okay, pause. What the fuck is this? Okay, cool. I was a little bit weirded out by the grandpa saying, hey daughter, hey my daughter, here's the embryo of my wife. Hold that. That's weird. That's a little bit odd. That's going in some odd directions. This is fucked up. Let me explain. Soon after she got married, a shark attacked her and she was reborn. Her husband waited nearly 20 years to marry her again. What? Okay, this completely runs counter to every other message in this episode, which is that these, Umi Naoshi, when they come back, they're a different person, right? If they are a different person, and you've known this person since they were very young, as implied, okay, I waited nearly 20 years to marry her again, that's weird, no? The grooming? It's got a big G word in it, I think. It's a G word type of guy. I think so. Because again, okay, say it is literally a clone of your wife's thoughts, emotions, fears, everything, right? From, before she died, she's just now a baby. Still weird, but like a little bit more passable. If it's a new person, which is again the justification from the rest of the episode, then you've just groomed a different girl who looks like your wife. That's weird. That's really odd. I don't like that. So yeah, that's my 2 cents. I don't know. They're on screen for 2 seconds, but it's like a big yikes from me, dog. Holy shit. I wonder if anybody else has a similar reaction there, if I'm going out on a limb. That's mental town to me. Anyway. But yeah, back to the point. Really important scene in the episode. Just checking with Isana about how she feels about the whole Umi Naoshi process. She's fine with it. Mum loves me. I love her. I'm a little bit wigged out when people call me Mana, but, like, I'll deal with it, I guess. This is all I know. This is my life now. I guess I gotta live it. And she's pretty positive on it. Ginkgo can kind of resonate with that worldview. It's all just, peaches and roses from here and stuff. I don't know if that made any sense, but anyway. Ginkgo here decides to stay until the next full moon, so he's gonna be here a little while, just checking on the town and stuff, and getting a good look at the Mushi when it shows up. But the tone of the episode kind of changes here. You can kind of tell that something's just a little bit off. We're not fine with it yet. It kind of reflects Mio and her emotions on it, I would say. Like, says that she's fine with it, but she's clearly not. She's still holding, like, a little bit of reservations on it. She's just a little bit weirded out still. Especially as she continues to grow up, right? Like, she's just going to look more and more like Mom? That's weird to me. That's odd. And again, this is where we start to argue for almost the other side of the ethical quandary there, right? Okay, well, what about nature then? What about whoever you are, right? What your makeup is. That's still a big part of you too. Because again, same example. I am the same genetic makeup. I am now 20 years in the future, right? There's still some things are going to be the same about me. I'm still going to be white, my face is still going to look the same. I'm still going to smile the same, right? Like, I'm probably going to have the same fucking hair. Like, as much as we want to say that all I am is my brain, that's not true. I'm also, the rest of me too. We argue the other side here in a compelling way. And it's to the point where Mio feels like, Asana isn't even a daughter of her own. It feels like, again, just a weird clone job. And once again, I've never had a child, obviously. Having or giving birth to like a weird genetic copy of like the rest of the people above you in the family tree is kind of weird. I know, and that's kind of been reflected here too. I don't know. Lots of people say that when they see a cute baby or something, oh, you look so much like your grandmother, or you look so much like your grandfather. That's kind of that similar concept here almost. Oh yeah, the rocks too. This is almost like some parent-child type stuff. See the lighting here? It's almost like it's embracing it. That's very fun. I like that. I said this in the reaction, but something about Ginkgo with a microscope is kind of frying me. I don't know, that's very funny. It's just like doing some science type of guy. And again, the plot relevant stuff here is that he finds that it's an embryo. So again, there's nothing, it's not like a weird Mushi guy, it's a real thing. Well, it is kind of still a real Mushi guy because you don't swallow an embryo. That doesn't make any sense. So anyway, I digress. And yeah, like I said before, now we're arguing the nurture side, right? So, yes, this is a physical, literal copy of your mother. She's going to be the same genetically. But she's raised by a different mother. She's not raised by her mother, which would be your grandmother. She's raised by you. So that's influencing who she is. Again, another thing that would change me if I was 20 years in the future, right? I wouldn't have my friends. I wouldn't associate with the same people. I would be different because of that. I would be born to different parents almost too. I would be raised a different way. I'd be different because of that. And I feel like that's a much more compelling case, even though there is some arguments this side for the nature stuff. The nurture side is more of a person's makeup. And yeah, Ginkgo, I guess, allays the fears of Mio by saying this, right? It's not going to be your worst fear. It's going to be fine. It's going to be better than that. It's fine. So Ginkgo seems pretty happy with his analysis. He's then going to fuck off. He obviously feels a little bit weird about things. Once again, he's like, this village is kind of incesty and weird. But hey, I'm not anybody to take away your happiness. That's fine. You guys do what you need to do. If I was Asana, I wouldn't say this line, which was, if mum's close to death, then I'm going to give birth to mum again. I can't imagine a life without her. Yeah, maybe don't tell that to him just as he's leaving. That's a little bit, how's it going, It does tie into the finale in a nice way, though. We're, saving each other and whatnot. It's nice. Strong kind of daughter-mother relationship there, which we love to see. I wanted to tie it into Ginkgo a little bit more, right? Because why does he feel, again, a little bit fucked up about everything? Why is he not looking here, right? I won't know what to do if I stay here any longer. I feel like this whole experience is making Ginkgo face his own origins a little bit, right? What is Ginkgo? He had a different name before. He could still see Mushi, but he was a very different guy, right? He had a very different life. He would have had a very different life if it wasn't for different mothers within his life almost, right? You have Nui and his birth mother, both very important there. Now, the hair color there is very important too, because it's like a yin and yang type of thing. But the original mother had black hair, and Nui had white hair. Yeah, he was like reborn in the darkness almost. Remember that, Ginkgo? Do you potentially feel like sometimes you're an Umi Naoshi of your old self too? That you've gone through some kind of cloning, that you're kind of unsure about where you fit in this whole grand thing and if you're in your right place and everything else there. And maybe this experience is making you think about that. I feel like that's the interesting Ginkgo character stuff in this episode, and I guess pushes that kind of stuff forward a little bit more in the macro, which I like. Like, the overall story of Mushishi would be lesser, if the way I'm seeing it is correct, if this episode wasn't in the show. And that's a really good feeling. Now, I do think the typhoon is a little bit lame. You could squint and say it's a pathetic fallacy for the turbulent emotions of Mio still. She still isn't quite okay with everything, and the storm kind of reflects that. That's a take. But it is just a convenience to keep Ginkgo here one more day so we can have a climax to the episode. This is where we do the, the dream thing, the big fish and the whatnot. And it's the kind of impetus for Mio walking out and, I guess, taking a breath outside for a minute. Just, oh my god, that freaked me out. She's just like, Mom, that's odd. Which is some good setup, payoff stuff for the episode, I would say. But her going outside and then seeing a boat like there and then going, oh, it'll float away if I don't save it, is another really big contrivance that I don't really like. I don't know. It's just a reason for you to get swept out to sea to propel the climax. So again, her reason for leaving and going and taking a breath, you know, outside of the bedroom is really good. The reason for her ending up in the middle of the ocean, not so much. That's my take. Once again, you could be very charitable and say that her going back out to the ocean at this time ties into the big fish sinking down into the water metaphor from the dreaming stuff, blah, 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 blah. Whatever, fine. Sure. I don't know. It's ultimately fine. It doesn't matter. Yeah, and I guess this is when we start to see the true nature of the Mushi, what it does. It doesn't matter that if the person's, like, sick or not, or, like, dying, and I'm going to, like, revive you. It's like, no, I'm not fucking benevolent like that. Like, that's not my thing as a Mushi. I'm just eating. I'll eat what I'm given, and then take its time, feed on its time, and then return it to its, like, base form. That's my thing as a Mushi. I don't care who it is. I don't care if you're a perfectly healthy 30-year-old, maybe. I'm gonna eat you. It's an animal. It doesn't think about it being nice to you. You're using its function, and it's great that we have a form of symbiosis there, but don't go too close. Don't fucking... It's gonna eat you. There's a back and forth. There's various characters jumping in to save each other at different times. Ginkgo ends up in the drink and being swallowed by this particular Mushi. Some really good audio design here, which, again, like, it's almost like he's talking internally to himself. I can't fight this. It's got me swallowed. I'm disappearing into the darkness. I need something to get me out and bring me back to the light. Of course, the moonlight does that, which is very nice too. Again, I'm seeing a lot of the episode 12 Nui stuff here, right? Okay, I'm almost getting pulled into the darkness. I look for the light. Tying that to a fish too. Again, I'm just going to get episode 12 up. You guys will see what I'm talking about. Like, I mean, you know, been an episode about parental-child relationship, talking about a big fish swimming down into the ocean, into the darkness, being a nice thing to send you to sleep. The closing of the eye there. This episode's called One-Eyed Fish. Like, oh, so the moon's tied into that too. There's lots of stuff. There's heaps. Look at it all. I don't know. I see something pretty profound there, and a pretty profound connection that would make Ginkgo feel feelings. I guess that's my 2 cents. And I think this is where it becomes a little bit pronounced as well. I guess the two Ginkgos, the Ginkgo before the incident and the Ginkgo after. Again, he wasn't Ginkgo before the incident. I forget his name. Anyway, if I get reborn as an embryo, which one will I be reborn as? Is a really interesting question as it pertains to him. There's some good Ginkgo stuff here, man. And yeah, the storm has passed. There's a parting of the clouds. The moon shines down. The Mushi regresses. The moon is a mother. Lots of stuff. It's great. We do a pretty straightforward little epilogue. You know, I guess what was the moral of the story type scene here. Ginkgo's gonna let them be. They seem to be pretty switched on about it. Hey, even if mother was taken there, then you could just give birth to her again, Mio. In due time, of course, when you're of age. And not Mio, that's Isana, of course. Anyway. Names. Yeah, I could, but that would be sad. They would have stolen the time from Mum, right? I'd rather see Mum die while she's still my mum than give away her entire lifetime to someone else. Yeah. That's a nice flip of it, I feel. It's a really nice sentiment. And again, they're going to be fine now. And again, it ties into the Mushishi overall concept thing of continuing to live despite. So our circumstances are odd, but we're going to put up with it, and we're going to continue to make good on it, and you know, life gives you lemons, you make lemonade type of stuff, I think. Like, just keep on living. It's also a reflection of how Mio would have treated the situation too. So Isana and Mio are of similar minds there. Again, you are my daughter. You have some stuff from me, you're not just a copy of my mother. Yeah, nice ending, for sure. Next episode time now, and it's the Rust scream yelling one. Sure. I really got to fix that that subtitle thing that I do. That like it defaults to English. Anyway, we fixed it. It's fine. It just kind of threw me off when kind of recording it. Obviously, it was weird. So I've got some pretty good headphones on here. You can kind of slightly hear a scream, maybe. I don't know. I would have made it more pronounced in the mix. Even if it is there, I could be just imagining it, just hearing something in the white noise and whatnot. But either way, that yelling, that screaming was this person here. And her name, of course, is Shige. How could I forget? Yeah, I'm very bad with names. Shige. Cool. Let me just explain a bunch of stuff now. Her voice and her screaming and stuff, it attracts a particular kind of mushi that looks like rust. This, her screaming in this cave on the outskirts of town, is her trying to almost, like, she knows this, she knows that she's cursed in some way, and she's trying to, like, get rid of it all, almost. And which is, you know, misguided. You can't really get rid of your voice like this by overusing it. Well, I mean, you can, but only temporarily, generally. And it may talk to, you know, the kind of timbre of her voice that she has now, which is, it sounds a little bit scratchy, you know. It could be because she's doing this kind of thing. It's all on the pretense that her voice makes people sick. She wants to get rid of it now, which is cool. I like the rust element early. It's a really cool identifying factor for the episode. In again 6 weeks' time, when I'm talking about, you know, episodes of Mushishi, you could say, oh, it's the rust episode, and I'll know what you're talking about. She also sees Ginkgo then very quickly runs away, probably not wanting to hurt him by having any conversation with him too. So yeah, she's very thoughtful about it, which again, she's mute when she's back at the village, so she very much is very thoughtful about it, for sure. I'm very happy she got a happy ending. She didn't do anything wrong. So, another crucial element to the episode. People cannot see this. And I feel like we should have emphasized that a little bit more earlier on to make me, or to better my understanding, I guess. I don't know. It was fine. Yeah, so there will be hard patches on the skin. So if he's touching here and here and here and stuff, it'll be like, yeah, that's like hard and weird and stuff. Ew. They won't know that it looks like fucking rust. And yeah, it causes people's limbs to seize up and stuff, and, you know, to feel very heavy. It's essentially like you've got a bit of metal on you, and it's kind of holding you in place. We do a lot of exposition here early. The rest of the village believes that Shige is responsible. Again, she's 14 years old. The sickness has been here 14 years. The people closest to her are the ones most affected, like her father, who's a good friend of mine. His limbs have full seized up, of course. And yeah, we see that visually here as well. As she's walking through town, people kind of, you know, pulled away from her and don't really associate. We see this bitchy grain lady. I don't like her very much. She purposely puts a hole in the bag and then, you know, tries to play like it was an accident. I don't know. I guess you're like the cursed one. We're not going to treat you very nicely. And later on, she like leads the mob. She should have died. I don't know. Manufacture a way for her to die, please. Next time you write this, sure. I don't know. She needs to have a pitchfork through her chest or something for me to feel any good about this at all. So it's giving me Cinderella a little bit, right? That was like an evil stepsister type, and then we see, you know, somebody stop and help her, even momentarily, with whatever else is going on. Again, that's not really what happens in Cinderella. It's probably analogous to some other fairy tale, but it's kind of like, yeah, I don't know. I'm getting like fairy tale vibes, I guess, right? Like a children's story. Like I'm the one that's bullied by people around me, and he's the one that stops and helps me. The only one that associates me, talks with me, wants to have any kind of thing to do with me. It's nice, and again, it leads to their kind of faux romantic thing they have going on later on. I don't know. He's very normal. Hello, normal boy. Everyone else not normal. You're normal, so you, again, get a gold star, I guess. I think another element to the fairy tale-ness of it all is the sick parents that she's caring for. Like, that's just, you know, it's something admirable. It's something heroic that, you know, a young girl would do in a story such as. So, like, it helps me to associate. Yeah, I don't know. It's very funny that 2 episodes ago we were, like, deathly terrified of, like, alien fucking crazy clone children, and now we're just doing like almost like a fairy tale. Like, that's fun to me. It's very broad show, Mushishi, I guess. Either way, Ginkgo tracks her down. We get the smoke going, which we haven't done in a while. I do like it when we do it. Reminds me of that episode in the snow with the thing in the guy's ear. That was fun. And the horns. I remember. I'm paying attention. Yeah, and we tell her that it's curable, and that kind of gets her to open the door and hear us out, I guess. We can also see the rust, like nobody else can. So, hey, I seem to know what's going on with you. Please at least explain your side of the story. Oh yeah, so she does say there that my voice is like this because I scream in that cave. Yeah, true. Fair enough. So again, it is damaged, it is scratchy because of that. I've done irreversible damage to my voice because of my condition and me trying to fix things. Like, that's awful. She's been racked with guilt all this time that she's literally self-harming. Like, almost. That's crazy. We do have flashback here, and back before when she was a child, very young, her voice didn't sound this way. So it's not something about the sound of the voice that makes the Mushi happen. It's just a fact of almost something like that we can't hear in it that causes this to occur. And again, ever since she's used it, she's seen rust form on the people around her, and she was like a little kid. She didn't know. She has no frame of reference for what is normal. Therefore, she's, hurting the people around her without knowing it. It just sucks. It's a very sad little story here that goes on. Over time, I realized it wasn't a good thing. It was hurting the people around me, especially my parents, more so than anything else. I then told my father and my mother about it. And again, instead of blaming her, I love this. They're like, no. Okay, you gotta keep quiet about this. Because this is a good town. And if people know that you're the cause, you like, shit's gonna go down. Like we need to keep it on the hush hush. Which again, it's just nice. We want to stay here. We want to stay here with you. We don't want to be separated. Potentially, this is when we would move out of town. Maybe try and go to the ocean. Maybe just once. I guess they're pretty isolated in the mountains here, but I digress. Anyway, I feel like they're doing a good thing. It's nice. I guess they're all crippled, so they can't even really travel now anyway. So I guess, they've made their bed, they better lay in it. Getting a lot of frozen, too. Conceal, don't feel, right? Keep it all bottled up deep inside of you, right? And then go out to the, mountainside, go into that cave and scream it out. Let it go, per se. I don't know. Again, I'm seeing a lot of Disney, a lot of fairy tales and stuff. This is when Ginkgo does Mushishi Explain Hour. So this Mushi is known as a yasabi, and it's alive. And it makes a little sound that is remarkably similar to, I guess, an element of your voice. I tried to look up some stuff for yasabi. I couldn't really see anything. I saw some stuff with yasa being like the start of some stuff with gentle. And it can be used in a phrase, yasa koe, maybe? From memory, which was something like gentle voice. So maybe that's, probably not. So yasabi are kind of everywhere. They're almost like, kind of little bits of life that are just in the air. They don't hurt nobody, and they help to decompose bodies. And when they do, they make a little sound, a little voice almost. And your voice is that sound amplified several hundredfold. I don't know why there's an additional that there, but anyway. So, therefore, if it sounds like there's a lot of yasabi here, right, if I'm speaking, then it attracts a lot more of them, right? So they think that, oh yeah, I hear more yasabi here. There must be something to eat, something to decompose. Therefore, let's come over here. And then they all gather, and then it kind of forms this rust, and it's almost like attaching to people that are like still alive and stuff and slowing them down. And yeah, it's all just not really great. It's a really weird curse that you've got almost. So yeah, they think there's food, but there's living things, and we attach to the living things and almost start to decompose them, which is terrible. I think Tetsu's, demeanor here very early is believable. He's very closed off to Ginkgo, thinking it to be like some other doctor that has been brought in that won't do anything, or somebody that's obviously going to start suspecting Shige for weird reasons, and ultimately just thinks it's bad news. So he decides to shut up a lot and doesn't really answer questions. He's very short with Ginkgo early on here. There's no faith here that Ginkgo's going to fix shit yet, right? We know he's the main character. You don't, which again informs your demeanor. And so there's one other thing about Tetsu as well. He does not have a single bit of the yasabi on him. It's mentioned that he came here from somewhere else 2 years ago. He used to be by the ocean. Yeah, so the ocean breeze is a deterrent for reasons. So here's my understanding, right? You go to the coast. I don't live anywhere near the coast, but you go to the coast, and there's like rusty stuff everywhere, right? Rusty ships, rusty docks, rusty fucking stuff, all by like the kind of, harbors and whatnot. I believe there's something with salt and oxidization on metal, maybe? Here we go. Here's fucking grade 1 science, everybody. Rust forms through an electrochemical process called oxidation, where iron reacts with oxygen and water to create iron oxide, commonly known as rust. This reaction is accelerated by factors like humidity and salt, and it occurs in a cycle where rust flakes off to expose new metal, and then it begins to rust again. Cool. Grade 1 fucking science. I really should know stuff like that. Because ultimately here it adds into Ginkgo's little theory. There's stuff here in this kind of gap where the kind of salty water comes through the mountain pass that is genuinely just rusting. It isn't the Yasabi, it is actual rust. This would then tell us that the Yasabi doesn't like this, right? The rust and the Yasabi are blending in with one another. The Yasabi isn't on top of the rust. So, like, that tells you that it doesn't like that. I guess that kind of makes sense. Like, I don't know. You don't really like the salt and the humidity. You'd rather somewhere a little bit more dank to decompose the thing. So yeah, we essentially need a sea change. This is where Ginkgo, I guess, gets that idea. So I did say this was very contrived before. And it is. But it is also very cute. She wants to thank Tetsu for being a friend. In her own words, she gets Ginkgo to teach her how to write, and writes a nice message for him. I like how it's not perfect either. It is using her own writing. She wants to thank him using, I guess, her own stuff. She doesn't want Ginkgo to, I guess, be the scribe there. I'd rather write it and it be all a little bit wonky and incorrect. It reflects her voice, which is a little bit, it's a little bit scratchy and odd and stuff, and a little bit low. It's not like a normal voice. Again, she wants to do it her own way, even if it's not perfect. It's cute. It's cute. I like it. I feel like the episode drops pacing-wise here, though. Again, Ginkgo already has the solution, and we already know that he has the solution, which just means that a lot of this feels quite, I don't know. It feels like, again, it feels all very contrived to get all these 3 characters not together at once so Ginkgo can tell them what's going on. Like, everybody needs to be running all over the place, and we can't meet up with each other. I don't know. I would prefer us just to write something else. I don't know how you fix it. And I mean, we watched the episode. Stupid old bitch takes the letter, starts reading it, starts suspecting Shige. She's going to go tell everybody. They're going to start a big old mob, and then we're going to fucking rush down and get Shige and get her out of town because she's making everybody sick. If I had my way, I would have pushed her into the oven. I don't know. I don't know, is that funny or is that kind of a red flag? I don't know. So then it's like, hey, Shige, fuck Tetsu, go escape town. Go over to that ridge, which is just coincidentally in the direction of Tetsu's village, which is fun. We'll reconvene there. We'll talk to you about some stuff. And I don't know. And then she slips down the mountain. I don't know. I prefer the events of the episode to have something a little bit more to do with, I guess, the characters and their struggles. I feel all very just like, oh, the lady was walking by at the wrong moment and grabbed the thing. Oh, she was walking on the mountains and slipped, and then that kind of forced her to make a decision. The decision's good. We'll get there in a second. I like what Tetsu. I like what Shige does there, but I don't know. Write something more compelling to get her to fall down the mountain, I guess? I don't know. It's weird. It doesn't help that the mob's stupid as well. So Ginkgo sits here. He's going to fend off the mob for a little bit and just, I guess, talk with them and explain his very, very correct point of view. I didn't lie. Shige isn't the cause of the sickness. She just has an element in her voice that attracts the sickness. The mob then goes, that's the same thing. She's got to go. It's like, no... It's all about intent, my friend. Anyway, it's so obvious to me that you're a moron. We want her to apologize for being disabled. It's like, you need to die. I don't know. The best ending is for this whole village to get nuked, except for the house where the parents are. That's the best solution, I think. And Ginkgo's right. He spits some facts here. She's been apologizing for 10 years straight. She has been able to speak. You guys take that for granted every single day. She's been keeping her voice down just so you guys don't turn into rust even quicker. She knows that she's going to make you sick, and she stopped doing the thing. What? You're a moron. That doesn't mean we can forgive her. Die. You should die. Kill. Death. I mean, just contrast it with last episode, which was a very, very interesting and multifaceted moral dilemma where we talked about both sides, right? And both sides having a point. I don't see you guys as point at all. I don't know. I guess it sucks to have weird scabs on your body and stuff. They're like hard bits and to feel fatigued and stuff. But that or not being able to speak, I'd rather that. I don't know. Shut up. This is a trend in Mushishi. Just the general populace sometimes just pisses me off. There was the episode about the stars. I remember the village there pissed me off too. People are just stupid in this show, man. Just whoever isn't the main character needs to be dumb as fuck. There's some fun little faux confession stuff up here with Tetsu and Shige and stuff. It's cute. I have seen better young romance stuff in the show though, but it's cute. I like these two. They're a good couple. All right, let's put my charitable hat on. You could argue that a few of the plot conveniences in the episode and her slipping it right at the, most inopportune moment and blah, 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 blah is also very fairy tale. Because it just, like the mob element of the town and everybody else not understanding and like that, it's almost like Beauty and the Beast almost, a little bit. It leads to a moment where she can finally use her gift for good and use her gift and yelling out. Again, Tetsu's, what's the word? He's unconscious, right? He's fallen, trying to save you, right? And now you need to make the choice to use your voice or not. That's a fantastic moment, right? Should I use this thing that's ultimately going to... Like, I'm under the understanding right now that that's going to make him sick. And I've been told to conceal all this time, and finally I'm here to let it go. It's a great moment. It's wonderful. And again, once again, very fairy tale to me. And yeah, we hear that squeal now a little bit more in the audio mix, a little bit more than early on in the episode, which is really evocative. Once again, the sound design in this show is immaculate in general. I just wish, again, in that earlier scene, we turned it up a notch. And it gives a lot of character too, right? We're essentially trying to create a sound that sounds like the process of almost decomposition times several hundredfold, right? And it's a really like harsh scream, right? And I feel like they've picked that out very well. Obviously, she can't help it, it's her voice, blah, 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 but it is a sound that would attract something like this, right? And again, part of Ginkgo's eventual plan would have been for her to go up to the mountains and make her scream echo out and, again, move the Yasabi out from their current location, which is, again, what starts to happen. I don't know. Everybody, your sickness is going away. Fucking send your thank you letters to the fucking village by the ocean. So then, of course, Shige's distraught, thinking that, again, she's attracted all these Yasabi here. That sound is now on his body. The Yasabi are going to essentially take him over. And his name's Tetsu, right? He's like made of iron. That's bad. Oh, he's going to rust. It's actually the exact opposite. Because he's from the ocean, right? Because that's part of his makeup. Again, like a few episodes ago where that guy was from the village at the foot of the mountain. Like, because he himself has grown up in a certain location and almost ingested some part of that, ecosystem, he has a natural resistance to this stuff. The same way that those iron tools over there rusted, he's almost rusted in of himself. Tetsu. Rust, not Yasabi, right? So yeah, I don't know why Yasabi dislike sea breeze. We don't really explain that, we just say it as a fact. Again, I'm just theorizing that sea breeze is very fresh, you would decompose, and it's not very fresh. Maybe. That just kind of makes sense to me on that kind of scale of it. But we get some nice resolution here. She comes back to her parents, and they're, kind of cured. They can walk for the first time in ages. It's lovely, it's beautiful. And yeah, now kind of resolution here to the story that we're telling. So you're going to go live by the ocean with our good friend Tetsu, right? You're going to come up to the mountains periodically and start screaming. That's going to also help to bring all the kind of build-up of Yasabi out from the village and into the mountains. And again, they're just kind of going to be there on that mountain, kind of caught between the sea breeze and the town. Which I guess is fine. I don't know. No one lives there. It's chill. So yeah, she still has to atone somewhat, which is a weird ending for mine. I feel like she's atoned enough, but I guess going up to the mountains every so often and and screaming isn't that big of a price to pay. Should be getting her steps up, should be cardio freak, which is good to see. So yeah, I mean, good resolution, I guess. Sure. I do like pairing that with a visual of the mountains as well without their snow. It's like they've shed this heavy thing that is covering them as well. It's a nice metaphorical moment to bring an end to the episode too. I also like the idea of sometimes hearing this voice through the mountains. It's like somebody singing to us. It's a pleasant sound where, again, the pleasantness of the sound is associated with us feeling better in the village rather than the actual objective view of the sound itself, which is interesting too. Hey, there's some fun stuff there. I don't know. This episode was my favorite. I'm guessing you could tell that, but it's got some quality there for sure. I feel like the concept of the rust overall is doing some heavy lifting and a few cool scientific type elements. I just feel like the whole narrative of you just start the episode again like here and then write a better resolution. I feel like that's how you fix it per se, even if you think it needs fixing. I don't know. Good session again, obviously. Definitely preferring that first episode though, for sure. Either way, you'll see me next week. 2 more episodes. Maybe? I don't know. I have 3 left in this season, which is a really fucking poxy spot. So some advice there would also be appreciated. You'll see me again. Patreon. Blah, 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 blah. I'll see you later. Goodbye.